Yo, what's up, everybody? It's MF Oblivion here with Closed Loop and Suspension. This is going to be a good interview. I'm super happy to get these guys on. Thank you guys for giving us some of your time again. Um, I've been following them for a good 4 years now, so this is a cool chance to finally delve deep into the magic. You guys want to give yourselves a little intro real quick?
Yeah. So right, like you said, I'm Closed Loop. I'm a music producer and also like have my hand in a few different other aspects of like creative stage work as far as like lighting and DJing and just like kind of a little bit of visual stuff. This is my fiance.
Hello, I'm Suspension.
I remember that I first met y'all together at THCC, the one that we were just talking about. Were you guys together even before that? How long has this artist couple been a thing?
I would say like
Late 21.
yeah, we met in 2019 when Sam booked me for like my first ever show essentially, and then we kind of kind of kept in touch over internet.
Went to a few concerts together.
Yeah, I went to a few concerts a few years later as friends, and then started really hanging out like end of 2021. And then she ended up moving in with me after she had a house fire at the very beginning of 2002, and that was kind of yeah right before New Year's, and then that was basically when we started like really taking it together a lot and
figuring out what we were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a wild way to get things started, but I mean, it sounds like you guys have had familiarity with each other even before all the magic, which is cool because you both come from very different realms in the world of the underground. Like Closed Loop, I know you're more focused on the actual music end of it, where Sus is she's got a well-rounded background. She dipped her hands in a little bit of everything, seems like.
That was true.
What's some other things that people wouldn't know that you do, Sus?
Like Charlie, I also I love doing production work. I like DJing. I like setting up lights, running lasers. Sound would be cool too. I like to put my hand in all the ponds. Like Closed Loop, I don't kind of define myself as one genre. I kind of got my foot in the door everywhere. Could be heavy, could be lo-fi, because we've done a lot of lo-fi work together. We also have like a kind of like glitch hop, like trippy kind of duo project. So it really just depends on the flavor of the day.
All right, all right. Well, I know you guys just dropped that new track too. What was the name of that? It'll come to me. I want to know, right?
Yeah.
The dreamy poppy. That was different. That was like a new sound for the both of y'all. Would you be able to give us a little? What made y'all want to do that track in specific?
I appreciate that. Yes. So like that was actually we had that in our notes where we're talking about our personal favorite releases over the years, and that one definitely is on top of Sam's list. If you want to explain why you like that collaboration so much.
I really like that track because it was an unexpected production project. I was kind of pulling away from making music at the time, and I was at work, and Charlie's like blowing up my phone. He's like, "Yo, listen to this, check this out, this is cool." And he's like, "I think you should put some vocals on this and see what we can do with it." And it was probably like midnight when I came home, and I was like super pumped to see him up that late working on a project. And then we kind of just jumped in the lab for a couple hours, and it was one of those projects that was like not planned, super organic, and then it became one of my favorite projects because it was something new. And the way we like oscillated the vocals too on that track was something really different. We love like 80s synthwave, like pop kind of music. We're super into the synthesizers, and we wanted to make a modern sound to that love. So I think that's kind of what we accomplished with that that particular track.
Oh man, you guys can't see it, but that makes me like smile crazy because like that's a sound I've always like loved since a kid. Like I mean, like I'm not even gonna lie, like Depeche Mode sounds like that, or like kind of the sounds that
Thank you.
birthed my love for that music in general, and like the different avenues of it. But like I feel like that track in particular was like it was the sauce on all the amazing meals that you guys have blessed us with, because it's like a good variety. You got each course. You know what I mean? How would you define
Yeah,
your sound if you had 1, 2 words, both of you?
it's tough to really narrow it down to 2 words. But I would say like glitchy and experimental.
All right, all right. What about you, Sus?
Philosophy and undefined.
Honestly, that's good. That's good. I feel like both answers work really well because it's super ominous and like vague, but it's vague enough that there's like a whole realm that inside of them. You know?
Yeah, her spirit animal is a sloth. So like, and that's like what like part of her like her logo is like it got a sloth on it. That's kind of like I guess where she draws like some of the inspiration from, and that's kind of like open for interpretation. Like you can kind of make your own interpretation for what that means to somebody, because it's not necessarily doesn't necessarily mean it's slow or like drags on or anything like that, like a sloth would, but it's just that's kind of where like the internal inspiration comes from for her type of music. And like as far as like my stuff, like I use the MPC a lot in my productions, and there's a lot of ways to create glitch effects on that piece of equipment. So that's like kind of where a lot of my sound ends up having like that stuttery kind of glitchy element to it.
It's got a little bop, a little groove to it, you know. But it has a lot of hip hop roots, though. I can like feel it, like every track.
Mm.
A whole lot of rap in there. Not rap, but like the actual boom bap element of hip hop is like embedded deep in the closed loop sound.
Yeah, that's definitely like that is the root of it is definitely hip hop, because that was like not my first love, but I think my biggest love of music was definitely hip hop. Like I went like crazy down a rabbit hole with hip hop, like starting in my early 20s to like even up to now. I mean, I don't listen to it as much as I used to, but like I went like crazy, back in the days when you could download torrents of just like albums of music, or like I remember downloading like greatest underground hip hop songs, like not radio songs, or just like songs that like from the 90s to like the mid 2000s, of like shit I just never would have heard on the radio or anything like that. And really like opened up my mind to like all these different types of sampling techniques that people use for hip hop, and then like it's just like a crazy rabbit hole that went down. And then EDM, certain elements of EDM and bass music are like go hand in hand with that type of sampling technique and shit like that. So it's really cool and organic how like my discovery of all this type of music happened.
Yeah, I mean, like when you were listening thick, what were some of the artists in your like daily rotation? I know back when I was first getting into it, like I was like listening to a lot of rhyme sayers, and I hate to admit it, I attribute a lot of my hip hop love to ICP. I must just say it. I said it. But what were some of the ones in your heavy rotation?
Yeah, man, that's cool though that like you kind of you don't have any qualms of like that's your style, or that's where your inspirations came from. So it's like own it. If that's where it comes from, that's real. I think for me, like I'd list A Tribe Called Quest,
Hell
definitely, and
yeah.
like Jay Dilla,
Yeah.
his productions on like A Tribe Called Quest and Slum Village, they were
Fire.
like that was when I like really was like kind of understanding what they were doing as far as like the sampling techniques. And like it's like I guess when I first got into hip hop, like I kind of never really gave thought of like how the music was actually being made, like it
Hmm.
wasn't even like a thought in my mind of. And then when I started hearing like these really unique production styles, I was like, oh, that guy's using like an audio like file, and then it's being chopped up, and like kind of like discovering the way that it was made just by listening to the music. And then like like Outcast, and then some more like underground stuff like Living Legends, Eli. Had a strong attraction to artists that would make the beats themselves and also rap over them, or ones that like collaborated with like really good producers.
Did you ever get into like Necro and stuff? Like, because like I know he was like a huge self-produced, like he produced all of his shit. He didn't really like other people producing his work, but like his bars were questionable, but it was always undeniable
Right.
fire.
Yeah. I remember friends showing me his stuff. I know the song that sticks out to me is it's like I love drugs or something like that, or I'm on drugs. Some it's one of those
Yeah, with
song
Uncle
titles.
Howie. His like his
Yeah,
uncle.
yeah.
Yeah. That
Right.
was a
And then
fucked
like
up.
that kind of led me down like the path of like finding out who Ill Bill was, and Nonfiction, and like all these other artists that were connected to them.
That's
The
fire.
Necro. So like yeah, so definitely like in my early like or later teens, that's something I listened to.
Definitely same. Damn, I can agree with that heavy. Like after I like found hip hop, those were like a lot of the same artists like I was getting to. Isn't there rap artists with y'all's collective Interstellar Rabbithole? Like what's the roster, yo?
Oh, that's a good question. So in our roster, we have like a rotating table of artists. So nobody's specifically like signed to us. They come and they go as they please. Um, we help represent them when they want to collab with us and like drop music or do merch and stuff like that. But the biggest one, I'm gonna shout out Brandon Bailey, or otherwise known as Brandon the Wizard, from out in Cali. He's
Fire.
absolutely incredible, a multidisciplined artist, rapper, performance artist. He plays drums, guitar. He also has like a whole comic book thing that he does.
That's fire.
He's got his tail in like all these ponds, man. He's so talented, and he's the one that actually did my logo, my Sloth Lotus logo for me. He's been a long time friend of mine, and in his own words, we're probably the only one of the only labels that he'll work with, because he truly believes and backs like our motivations for why we do what we do.
I feel like that's like a base to this scene in general. You gotta like show love to the ones that love you back, right?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
that's like where that's like when you ask us like the artists on our label, like we strongly like take into consideration the people who are also helping support us,
Mhm.
because like by helping support us, you're also helping support yourself when you release music with us. So it's like a lot of times we'll find we'll help artists release music, but then there's really no reciprocation with it, and that kind of like that will lose our motivation to like want to reach back out, or like
Right.
put more effort into
Right.
promoting the music. Like we always offer like the baseline same thing for everybody. Like we're not going to charge you to like distribute your music. We're going to make like promo content for it and stuff like that, but if you want to like take a step farther, you got to kind of like reciprocate
Reciprocate.
the love, like our songs when we repost, when we're like putting new music up. There's just like I feel like there's not enough reciprocation in like between artists, and I feel like because sometimes it's easy to get into like that narrow lane of like, oh, I'm trying to do what's best for me, but when you really figure it out, you realize that you're only gonna succeed by how much you help other people succeed. Like it's really like just like a network that needs to be built, and it's so hard to do it just by yourself.
I also want to point out that through Brandon Bailey working with us long term, we've dropped like two of his albums. Charlie and I collabs with him, but he also, when we design new merch, he is the one who helps us do design new merch. With like, he makes the designs, we kind of put the
Mm-hmm.
order in, and then we have like a very specific or like mutually beneficial agreement with him long term about the usage of his art for merch and stuff like that. So it's been really, really great
That's
to
growth
work
right
with him.
there. I mean,
Yeah.
like, teams are better than just one mind. I've found working independently can be a struggle. But when you have, like, other collectives and homies that are there to just help and, like, grow with you, and you guys can both, like, take that leap together, you find a little bit more faith in the movement forward, if that makes sense at all.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
I truly
Taking
don't believe in uh, competition. I feel like the only true way to succeed is through collaboration, and I firmly, wholeheartedly will fight for that.
That's facts. Speaking of collabs, me and Closed Loop got a new collab on the new Flash Flood tape. Go check that out. But
Hell yeah.
segueing into the next topic, what are some of the best show experiences from over the years that you guys have experienced? I know you both have like extraneous like backgrounds and like whole like punk shows, like rap shows, dub shows, Wookie shows. You know, you got a little bit of everything in there. What are some of the best ones though?
And if like we're talking like so, I'm 36 and Samantha is 33.
Gonna be 33,
Gonna
yeah.
be 33 this year, and like we've gone to like so many shows that sometimes we forget what like kind of some of the shows that we've been to. But for me, like a shows that really stuck out to me were like more of the low key stuff that I would see in Boston, at the place called the Wonder Bar that isn't open anymore.
All that
Oh
I
man, I
got
miss
invited
Wonder
there
Bar.
like twice, and I regret not going.
Yeah, it was just like a really cool vibe, and it was when I was first starting to get into this like scene as far as just being like a person that went to shows. I saw like some of my first electronic music shows there, and the vibe was just like really cool, really laid back. Even for being like a bar, like in a small spot, it was very intimate. So I saw like one of the shows that really stuck out to me was Russ Liquid, and X Mag. Really dope because Russ Liquid does horns live, and X Mag was like a kind of like a live jamtronica type of thing, and they played during each other's sets. That was really fun, and then like more recently, we've been really finding ourselves enjoying Robot House events, which is like this collective
The
of
homies.
really dope people out of Boston, Providence, Rhode Island. They kind of work around that area. And Andrew Casey and his girlfriend Shay and John D are like kind of the three main people that run it, and then they also have like their team of people that they work with. But we've had the chance to both attend and be part of the production on their events, and they're just like really on the same wavelength as far as like what we expect a good show to be, and how we expect the people that we're working with to kind of like get along and make it for the betterment of the actual event, and not just like flashing egos and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
They definitely care about the curation of their experiences for their patrons and their guests, like of performers. They treat everybody really, really, really well. So
Nice.
next question was the best show experiences I've had over the years, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
The one that really sticks out to me was, I wouldn't say it was the best show ever, but the experience that I had at the show stayed with me for still will stay with me for life. A few years back, I think it was like after the last Camp Bisco. It was up, I want to say it was at Jewel. It was like Le Special with Zion I. So that was like an unexpected lineup to see. And I went to that show specifically because Zion I is my favorite rap artist of all time.
Fire.
And I
Mhm.
actually got to meet him that night at his merch booth. And I was asking him for a certain album that he didn't have out on his table. And I'll never forget what he said to me. He's like, "How old are you? Because how do you know about that album?" And I was like, "Dude, I've been a fan of yours since I was like knee high to a grasshopper, and you have influenced me for so many years. Your music's got me through so many things." And I bought like one of everything off his table. And then he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna do you a solid." So he goes in the back and he comes back and he gives me his personal record that he tours with of the album that I wanted. That's like my prized possession, and that to me is probably the best show experience I've ever had.
Weight in gold
So
right there. What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Um, but I also want to say I got my background musically. Like I was always a hardcore metalhead, like new metal and all that. Slipknot back in the day,
Oh
I want to
yeah.
say best concerts ever because they had like pyrotechnic flaming like demon skulls.
And the two
Sick.
big fucking spinning drummers and shit. The craziest
that
stage
shit blew
design.
my mind. As for like personal experiences of maybe like shows we've got involved with, I would say that getting to play on the same lineup with one of my musical heroes in the EDM world, Future Primitive, was really a cool experience. He's super chill, down and to earth guy, humble. He was nice enough to like hang out with me for a few minutes downstairs in the green room and like, sign my poster of us, our names being on the same poster. He was really chill about it.
It's a great thing when you're like playing with like an artist you've looked up to and they're cool backstage, you know.
Hell, shout out to Rain, you're cool as hell.
If you're watching this right now, who knows? I mean, like, I feel like you guys are like on a rise in a very interesting way, and I'm surprised more people aren't talking about it because you guys are like a power duo in the scene when it comes to New England, like
Thank
music.
you so much for that. Vote of confidence, man. We do what we can to try to inspire others to chase their dreams.
It's an understatement, to be honest. I wouldn't have gotten into wanting to do my own events if I didn't attend y'all's Renegade stage at Circus, and I was like, yo, if these people can do it, like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not going out and getting mine? You know, you guys got yours, definitely. Like, every time I've run into one of those Renegade camps or like anything, dude, we need to see more ISR stages, that's for sure.
Hit up your local festival, let them know.
You got any lined up for 2025?
We're kind of so like this year. Me and Samantha are getting married, and we're kind of focusing our energy kind of more so on that. We're focusing on our financial situations, and we're also focusing on helping artists release music this year. So, and we're kind of for this year, we're kind of taking a step back from getting involved with like throwing shows, or like running stages. But we are focusing more of our energy on getting prepared for the next year, where like we'll have more artists that we've collaborated with via releasing music with them. We'll be in a better place financially. We won't have the budget of the wedding kind of interfering with stuff, and then we can kind of focus more on like doing something really dope as far as throwing a show, maybe working with a venue that we haven't worked with before, definitely working with like some new like more well-known artists that we didn't have the budget for before. Just like try to do something really cool because we've done a few shows where like we basically curated everything and was doing everything ourselves and with the help of like a couple crew members. And realistically, we only really had one super successful event, and the amount of energy and time that we had to put into it, as well as like juggle our own personal lives and work lives, and like our full-time jobs and stuff like that. Wow. It really is a lot of work, and it's never a sure thing, whether or not the show is going to sell good, tickets good or whatever. So once we're in like more of a financial better state, and that we've kind of prepared ourselves for whatever happens on the other side of it, we can put that energy back into throwing an event that is proper.
I totally understand that. That's like why we've kind of laid off the Creatures from doing shows this past like 6 months, I think. It was just like, it's a lot to throw these damn shows. So like seeing you guys do it, so like it seemed effortless on the outside, but like seeing the inside a little bit, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of love and passion for what you all do. And that's like how the shit gets done.
There's so many moving parts to running a show. You got to find the venue. You got to work with the people at the venue to make sure you have what you need. You got to have the right equipment, the sound people, the lighting people. And usually all that stuff kind of falls on us to provide our own, because we like to do everything in-house. Booking the artist, getting a baseline of like how much it's going to cost us versus like what we could possibly make. We want to make sure our dots are dotted and our T's are T'd,
You want to basically like where we're at is like we don't want to like gamble. We want to if the event doesn't do good, we want to have the funds to cover our baseline cost of things, whether we have to pay it out of pocket or not. And at the, in where we're at right now in 2025, that's just not like a very realistic thing, because for the most part, anytime we've thrown an event that hasn't done good, we've always paid our artists out of pocket, and ended up like, just kind of, and I will also say, in a lot of cases, the artists were, they understood where we were at, and they were like, no, you don't have to pay me, but we always offer at least some type of compensation, whether it's $50 to cover your gas to get to the venue, or like whatever it is, because like,
That's real.
more often than not, I've been asked to play shows and there's just never any talk of any type of payment. And that's like one of the first things I say to people when I reach out to them if they want to play shows. Hey, I can pay you X amount of money. If it does really good, we can pay you a little extra or whatever,
Yeah, it's usually like a first thing, but like these days people are like, you pay me to play my show, and I'm like, what the fuck? This
Yeah,
shit's
that's
so
crazy.
backwards.
It's different now, yeah. Things are changing for sure.
Yeah, something I've been experiencing too is I've been booked for like a festival, right? Without my knowledge, and I'm like seeing my name on it. I'm like, okay, so I got to show up and play this now, but no one contacted me about pay or anything. Okay, this is happening.
No contract, not even like a
Nothing.
hey.
I'm like, what?
It makes it hard to even like wanna play those kind of shows when like I get the keeping us in mind thing, but it's different if it wasn't even discussed. Like you don't know if I'm off work, if I'm got my dog being watched that day. Like I don't know. People are funny.
Yeah. There could definitely be better communication all around, and more standardized like contracts and stuff like that, which is something that we've talked about before on Sam's podcast. That's just like kind of needs to be more of a standardized thing, among, even because like I feel like the thing is that like a lot of this is underground, and it's happening all, like things are moving fast and things are happening like last minute. And it just needs to be more like professionally done, even though it's at such a small scale. We're only talking about like, $50, $100, whatever, for payment. It's not a huge amount of money, but at least there's that bottom line understanding of like what's to be expected. And there just needs to be more of that, I feel like.
If I'm trying to sit at a table where mutual respect and transparency and communication is not served, I'm not sitting at that table.
Facts.
That's where I'm at with my like performance stuff now. It's like I have a bottom line of what I'll ask for, but I'll hear people out. They're not willing to, fluctuate with that. I'm asking for a lot. Like I put in preparation into my set, like a couple hours at least, and I practice. And it's like, okay, how far am I traveling? How long is this set going to be? What is the personal cost for me to get there to provide this for you? I don't need the cloud of like, oh, I like to be popular. Like I don't care about that. I like to perform music because I like music. I like to give back to the community that inspired me to become this. To me, about community and like, oh, it's all about me. Look at me. It's not. It shouldn't be like a popular thing. Like, oh, the DJ. You know what I mean? I think it's a silly thing.
Yo, y'all still there?
Yo, we out here.
We out here. Wi-Fi cutting out, trying to make problems and shit. I'm about to
And
buck with
back.
the Y. We back, baby. Honestly, I relate to that. Honestly, where I'm at in the mountains, the Wi-Fi here is fucking shit. So it's like you gotta like do the most just to hold a little bit of Wi-Fi for a stream or anything. That's why I do more recordings these days.
Sure.
Yeah, we out in the woods too.
We feel your pain.
Where y'all located? Like not literally, but like place wise, like general. New Hampshire.
Southern New Hampshire. Yeah, southern New Hampshire, near the coast, like more towards the coast than we are inland. And we're like close to venues such as like the Jewel in Manchester. We're
Great
not
venue.
too far from Boston. Yeah, we're not too far from
I'm
Boston.
close to Hampton.
Close to Hampton Beach.
Cool
We've
place.
we've done some like pop up renegade shit at the beach, like in the summer.
We
Kind of
do
just
that like a
pull
summer
up there
thing.
with like a little power bank and our DJ controller or the MPC, and kind of like mess around on the beach for a little bit.
You guys got one of those little Denons, right? The Denon Primes.
Yeah, so I used to have the Prime, and then I ended up selling it, and we got something bigger. So we got the Denon SD Live 4, which is basically like a much bigger version of the Prime, but it's got 4 channels. But it's not battery powered, but it is standalone, so it doesn't need to be connected to a computer. But you need like a power bank with a 120-volt outlet to be able to power it. But like we also have one of those, which is really good, like to bring along to like a festival as well. Like if you need to like charge shit, having that power bank is definitely a good fucking thing to have at a festival.
You gotta keep a couple of those. I mean, like I keep power banks, water, shower thing. Like, what are some like essentials for y'all when y'all go to festies these days?
Yeah, so like the power banks definitely. I love the idea of the like solar shower thing. We were actually like looking at those as well, and
They
like
work.
also one of my pro tips that like kind of is not as heard of, but if you have a vacuum sealer, like a food saver vacuum seal your socks. That way they will never get wet until you open the package, obviously. But like like a lot of times we're dealing with rain all weekend and like big puddles and flooding and shit like that. If you put your socks or anything you want to keep bone dry, just vacuum seal it and only open it when you need it. That's like a
That's
super
fucking
pro tip.
genius. How have I never thought of that? Oh my god.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, you could submerge them in water and they'd still be dry.
So I guess you've done this thing a few times, you could say.
Yeah.
What do you got?
All right. So for me, you definitely want to put on the damn sunscreen, and you want to get yourself a sun hat that's gonna like cover your shoulders.
Cover
And
it
your
up.
head.
That's
Yeah,
facts.
yeah. Like facts. Because if you're walking around all day in the beaten sun, it's like you're gonna forget that you're gonna get crispy like a rock lobster. My other thing, don't wear jean materials because it's gonna chafe.
Oh, that shit hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to go for like the soft kind of like clothy materials if you gotta.
I usually go in
Spandex
my
and shit.
pajamas. I just wear fucking
Yeah,
sweatpants.
jammies are the fucking
I like wearing my cloth onesie when it gets cool at night.
Oh yeah, honestly, that's the wave. I like the onesies. I feel like that's been coming about a lot more. More people are getting comfy with the onesies.
I've performed in my sloth onesie on stage at a festival. I think
As a
it was
spirit animal.
Germination.
Yeah. I feel like it's definitely clutch if you have one with a butt flap, though.
Yeah, for real.
Oh yeah, because it's a pain in the ass to take them off in the porta potties.
Yeah.
Bring toilet paper.
Yeah, exactly.
Bring toilet paper.
You don't want to be stepping on your onesie in the porta potty. That's not a good move.
No, especially when there's no like cleaning in there, and you get in there and it's like it's been a long night. There's no toilet paper, not a thing in sight. Just
So
bring
that's another
your
good tip too. Bringing your own rolls of toilet paper, just
And baby
because.
wipes.
Yeah, and baby wipes.
Dry shampoo.
Dry shampoo is also a good one.
I know it's
Multiple pairs of
terrible, but the little tissue packets I found come clutch because you could just keep it in your fucking fanny pack.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the little tissue things. But like the one that like feels like sandpaper on your nose, it's not for your nose.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah.
Good
You know?
point.
All right. Damn, we've been hitting all the questions so far. We've been doing really good. How much time do y'all have left?
Like another 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We could go for another. Yeah, like 6:30.
All right, so I'm gonna run through the rest of these kind of quick, just so we can make sure we're getting all of them. What are some of your favorite releases from over the years, personally, and most notable ones?
So for me, man, like it's crazy because like I'm really attached to all the stuff that I release until it's like released, and I'm just like kind of on to the next thing. Um, I think for me, something that really stood out was my collaboration with a producer named Feng Shui. He's out of Texas, and he's like a bass music kind of like on the 140 deep dub side of things, but he's got a broad range. So I did a rap collaboration with him where like I did the vocals, he did the beat. And that was the first time I had ever collaborated with another producer where I was just doing vocals and he was doing the beat. And that was like a really cool project for me to do because like I've been writing rap since like my late teens, early 20s. And that's like kind of what I did first when I was getting into music. And then I kind of took a hiatus from it for a while, and then I got into producing, and then I was like, oh yeah, I kind of like forgot that I used to write raps and shit like that. So working with him, it kind of gave me motivation to like work on a track, and it was like the first time I had ever, like, most of the raps that I had wrote before or recorded were like, they were not like well put together. They were kind of just like me with like a shitty microphone recording over a beat I found on YouTube or something like that. So like this was really cool to like kind of approach it in a more professional way, with like two full verses, like a hook, stuff like that. And also the content of I just felt very inspired. The track's called "Feeling Brand New," and I kind of just like felt very inspired where I was at in my life, to like write this content of lyrics that I had made for the track, which is basically just about like personal growth and like making changes in your life to like to better direct yourself onto the path that you want to be on.
That's what I mean, that's what I seen. Too tight, try to fit between and squeeze through like reverse osmosis. Who's gonna toast us? Spitting off words like expialidocious or mitosis. I'ma divide like a cell and leave the scene, reappear like I'm never far gone when you see me here. And I gotta get back to the essence, the shit that we're blessed with. It's the gift that you're born with, that you shape and mold for your own personal enjoyment. Unemployed with tools that work.
And then kind of like tailing off of that, me, Sam, and our good friend Joe Passanisi, he goes by Joey Pass, we have like a three-way kind of trio rap collaboration, which is called Commonality, and we dropped an EP last summer, and we also performed it live at a couple smaller events, which was really cool because it was just like something that none of us had ever done before, as far as like three people in a rap group and like kind of really sitting with the songs and trying to make them like as good as we could. Also working with like a mixing and mastering friend of ours, Fireboy, he's also a bass music artist, but he's very knowledgeable and good at the mixing side of stuff. So that, for me, those were like two things that really stuck out with me for releases.
You took it right out of my mouth. I was actually going to talk about Commonality, but in regards to Commonality, I also want to shout out FERRIS ELECTRIK from Sunday Drip for giving us the opportunity to perform as our rap trio out for like the first time to like a real audience.
Like, what do you want it to be? I sit back and let the hand of fate control my destiny. I will invest in these, need for sacred seeds, although they will impede. I must not lose my path and succumb to greed. I got sons to feed, cause we're all as one, mind, body, and soul. I have things to unfurl, so just sit back and give the wheel a whirl of fortune. It's all a perfect portion, moving and contorting. And though these edges might just hit you with the psychic optics, yo, I do it cause I cannot stop it, and you cannot top us. You had that trouble often. It's Joey, Sam, and me, and no, you cannot stop us.
That was really good experience. We've done a lot of stuff with you over the years, and you're cool as hell. Keep doing what you're doing for the hip hop community.
FERRIS, legendary.
Yeah, straight up.
Yeah.
A cool guy. Very down to earth.
Yeah. He's funny.
Yeah, and he's like a real head too. Like he's a real hip hop head. You can
Real.
tell.
He's a real head
Talking to
both
him.
ways. Like he's heady as fuck, and he's got some like
Right.
knowledge, bro. He's smart.
I also want to talk about briefly a collab that we did with Boydex from Australia. We kind of did a crossover with their collective and ours, kind of like trading, stuff back and forth. So this was a collab that I started with him that I pulled in Closed Loop and Bill Rich for. It was kind of like an emotional track, kind of brought it the little bit of the hip hop vibe to it. I kind of sang some vocals with it and did the production with Boydex. And then I had the two boys come in, Closed Loop and Bill Rich rap, telling a story about kind of like a love story a little bit about the struggles of being an artist and making music and your battles between like your personal life into that artist world. That's kind of what the song is about. That song is kind of near and dear to my heart. I can't remember that.
Oh man, I can't remember. It's called "Let You Go."
Let You Go. There we go. Let You Go.
Yeah, I could never let you go, especially when the weather's cold. Thoughts of us were growing old, what the future had to hold, but now the picture's looking a little different. I splayed out all my passions, rap career you thought was ignorant, but you forgot about the ore. I walked another path and made it to the river shore. Sure, you see these fiery horizons, lock gaze on the sky, mesmerized by flying diamonds. I look back for just a moment, so water droplets shining. It was the past you I was holding.
I'm starting to get teary-eyed talking about it. That's why. That song I feel like didn't get a lot of love as I hoped it would, but that one's kind of near and dear to my heart.
Damn, I'm gonna have to go listen to that.
Put a whole lot of work into that one, and Charlie and Bill and Maddie Boydex. Thank you so much for that collab. That was amazing.
It sounds fun, to be honest.
Water too, to collab with artists from other places and different vibes of the different types of genres that you can mix that are popular elsewhere versus here.
Oh yeah.
That's important. I feel like more artists should challenge themselves to rise to that challenge, to break the mold of like what's popular where you are might not be somewhere else. That too was a part of that project for me.
It sounds like a intense, kind of emotional. Like I feel like I've had a lot of breakthroughs like that as an artist. What are some other dope releases from your homies or like people you look up to that have like kind of sculpted y'all's sound individually?
So like for releases that we've done on ISR, there's been like we've really like kind of like spread our net as far as like trying to work with new people. Like a lot of times like we'll kind of do like A&R shit and we'll just be on SoundCloud and like kind of scoping out artists that we haven't heard or like are following people that we're following, and we'll kind of just like click around and go down a rabbit hole of SoundCloud of like artists that we never heard of, and by doing so like we end up like meeting a really lot of talented people that like you check their follower count, they got like a couple hundred followers or something like that, and you're like, dude, what, like this needs to change. So one of those people was a producer named sqwurl, and he's also out of California, like Northern California. His name is Brandon Grime, and he released a track with us called Character Creation. Just like it was a track that like got me really excited about like underground music again. Like it was just like a really unique style of producing, and like his sound and kind of his whole overall vibe, because like a lot of his music is like he draws inspiration from what we were talking about before we started recording, D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. Like a lot of his stuff has got like a story behind it, and there's like a lot of emotion and thought that goes into the music instead of him just like making crazy sounds. Like it's got a lot of story behind it. And also there was an artist that we've been working with that's released on a few times on our label is Moon Island, and they're like a production duo based out of Boston, Massachusetts, and they released a track called Dangerous. And then like not even a year later, through the network of ISR, they linked up with Stokamoto. Shout out Stokamoto, I'm rocking her shirt right now.
That's a homie.
And she remixed their track Dangerous, which was like really cool to see that happen kind of organically. And then she also just made like a dope remix of an already dope song.
It just kind of festered into creation in its own way. It was meant to happen, you could say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have firmly enjoyed watching all of the artists grow and change, and especially Moon Island. Coming from like a legitimate like music background, him and his collaborator on that project, just watching them come from Moon Island, live playing his first like festival set experience, and then all of a sudden dropping like consistent bangers and trusting our label and journeying with us through the beginnings of his project, that made my heart like feel like this is why we do what we do.
All right, so next question. So you were a drummer, right? Before doing NPC shit, Closed?
Yeah, I did a bit of drumming. Like, I was never like a super, like, I wasn't like a trained, I didn't take classes, but I just always had an affliction for the drums, because like, just banging stuff and making loud noises was like kind of something that I was drawn to even as a kid. But I never, could afford a drum kit, and I don't think my parents wanted me to have one. But then I remember when I was like in my late teens, I basically was like, still living at my parents' house, and I was like, if I can afford to get a drum set, will you guys let me put it in the basement? And like they were like, yeah. They wanted me to do something like constructive and creative with my time, so they were like, yeah. So I ended up getting like a makeshift kit from a coworker. And kind of like had to buy a few peripheral things to make it a semi-complete set. And then I had a friend that played guitar at the time that was also living at my house. So we would jam out a bit. And then over the years I would kind of jam out with like just friends, and it never really progressed into anything serious. It was more just like us having like a fun time trying, just like kind of making noise. Then eventually I got into a band in like 2013 era, and it was like it was with a few older guys that they were like older than me. At the time they were like at least 10 years older than me, and the music was like progressive, kind of almost like Rush sounding type of music, where it was like high pitched vocals, but with like cool like guitar riffs. And it was really fun to do that like creatively, for a creative outlet. And we did play a few shows, which was like the first time I'd ever played music out before, in front of an audience. So that was kind of like a really cool time in my life, just having that experience. Then I kind of took another dip and like didn't really play drums for a little while. Then I got re-inspired by a few local friends of mine, to jam out. They had a spot to jam out, like not like 10 minutes up the street from my house. They invited me over, said like, hey, we got a drum kit if you want to come like make noise. So we ended up getting into like, we kind of started like a unofficial band, and then it kind of dissolved. We never played any shows live, but we wrote a bunch of music. Then we met another guy named Nick Carlson, he's in Massachusetts, and he's like a longtime bass guitar player, and we ended up making a band with him and my friend Rob. It was a trio, and it was called Of the Sea, and we were like, we had wrote like 6 or 7 songs together. It was really fun and cool to like make that music. I was finally like in a band making the music that I wanted to make, rather than just like playing with a bunch of people like way older than me and just doing it to do it. And we were making a lot of cool music, and then like just shit happens, like life happens. We're all getting older. We're like like either A, starting families, or B, just like taking different like paths in our lives, kind of like what you were saying before we started recording about the rap trio that you were with. Yeah. Like people just kind of branch off and go their own ways. So it kind of dissolved a little bit, and I do miss playing with them guys. Like like every now and then I'm like, damn, I wish we were still doing that, because we were making like really fun, cool music. And I think the couple times that we played it out, it was well received. by people, and people were like kind of like, hey, you should keep going with this. But then that's kind of at the same time is when I was shifting more into like focusing on my production, because originally when I started producing music, I kind of wanted to remain some type of live element to it, and initially like I wanted to like incorporate the drums into like the music production, and then eventually like I kind of just gravitated more towards the production because it's easier. It's not I'm not saying it's easier to do, but it's just less equipment involved with it. Also, you don't need a whole band, other guys to like coordinate schedules with and stuff like that. So like I have, like I've always had like that drive to want to make the beat itself, whether it be with drums or finger drumming on the MPC. Um, but then also to segue into like something else that we just started doing, we mentioned Moon Island earlier, which one of the half of that duo is Pat Pate. He's a fantastic guitar player, Berkeley trained musician. He's in a funk band called the Odd Lots, but also we just started a project including him, Drake Thompson, who goes by Mango. He's a music producer. He's playing drums. And then we got Mr. Bobbish, Ben, who is doing like some scratching and synthesizer stuff. And then we got my good buddy Brian Rodill, which goes by Serotonin for Strangers. And we're kind of like forming this like producer
That's a
kind of
mega
super
group.
group.
That's a
Yeah,
mega
super
group.
Yeah, so like we're had our first practice a couple weekends ago, and we're hopefully getting another one going. And like it kind of goes back to me saying like getting all our schedules to kind of intertwine with each other is definitely is a struggle, and it's something that we have to really like actively work on. But that is the kind of my main goal that I've always wanted to do with music, is incorporate all those live elements into the cool sound design side of like production.
Damn, I feel like you and Pyrex would get along very fucking well. You and Jeff.
Yeah, man.
We know Jeff.
Yeah, that's kind of like when I first met you at Circus of Life, like you were chilling with them and like do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like that's kind of like where we all kind of like met each other at the same time at that festival.
It was like the first glance, the first cross by, the stars initially pathed, or whatever people say. That was a fucking fun time, Circus of Life. It's been how long? It's been like 4 years now.
Yeah, going on 4 years.
Sheesh. It's too long.
Time is flying, homie.
It's fucking flying, all right. I'm tired of it. It needs to slow down. Just for a day.
It's ain't gonna slow down, bro. It's gonna get faster and faster
I know.
as time goes.
I'm only
But
23.
we gotta slow it down. We gotta really like appreciate the moments that we have with the people that are here currently, and you know what I mean. Like just make the most of it.
Pick and choose my battles so much more now, so that I'm older. I appreciate things so much more, and the
Oh,
time
yeah.
that I have with my loved ones.
That's an
Less
understatement.
is more. You know what I mean? I relish all the experiences I've had over the years with at festivals and finding my people, and finding the love in my heart to keep doing all this as we getting older. It beats up our bodies and our minds, doing the work that we do.
It's a lot. You
But
guys
it's
take
worth
on
it.
the work of a whole force, to be honest. I'm surprised you guys aren't fucking tired yet, but you guys are still kicking and
We're burning
breathing.
out.
You all seem to be doing really. And congrats on the marriage, by the way. When's that happening?
Thank you, man. Yeah, late September.
Fuck
We're
yeah.
like in the planning phases right now and kind of coordinating things, and super low key, super low budget, but just like
Stressful,
yeah,
but,
it's still
you know.
yeah, it comes with its own set of struggles, but like yeah, it's something that we've just both felt right about, and yeah, thank you very much for that.
Make awesome music with you too.
Yeah.
All right, so one of the last questions I want to ask. So originally I had a different question in here for you, Sam, but now that I know what I know, what's the details on this D&D podcast? You have a podcast? What the fuck?
Oh my god. Yeah, so I do have a podcast for ISR that is Be the Change Industry Dialogues, where I have important conversations about introducing artists, their experiences, and talking about how we can change the scene from inside and do better. And then I run a weekly Dungeons and Dragons game that I record and put on YouTube for a private link just for like our homies to watch, because my team doesn't want the content like live on YouTube, which I totally understand and respect their privacy and all that. But yeah, I put a lot of work into creating a homebrew world. I'm super into it. I used to be a D&D player and frequently years ago, and I actually stopped playing with my group of folks. We did 2 games a week at my old apartment. My friend passed away, and that kind of group of friends really disintegrated. He lost his battle with drug addiction.
Oh,
So
man. I'm sorry to hear
that
that.
kind of like damper on, friendships and, being creative with that type of outlet. This was like long before I got into like becoming a musician and DJ and launched like ISR. This was like way before all of that. But I'm happy to pull back from music a little bit and get more creative and funny by running a new game. It's definitely helping my mental health a whole lot to be in a different type of creative space.
Hobbies, period, are going to be the thing to get us through these dark times of 2025, right?
Absolutely.
Fuck, man.
Absolutely.
That's a hell of a backstory. All right. I'm going to have to go watch the podcast, and whenever you guys do a public... let me know. Give me a daytime, and it's even easier when I'm not the one recording it, because like I go crazy and got a million things I'm focusing on. So like I'm sorry if I've been like here and detached, but like I'm here. I promise.
No, we appreciate the opportunity to like kind of chop it up with you, and we're looking forward to seeing like the final product of what you're doing. And like it's not it's like it feel like a lot of people just feel like a podcast is just like 2 people talking, but to do it right, there is like a lot of preparation, and it's a lot of like kind of figuring out how you want to direct the questions and kind of streamline things and help it flow. And you'll find that the more you do it, the easier it, and more secondhand it comes.
Yeah.
I know we're kind of crunched on time, but I did want to take this opportunity to kind of just give a backstory, like kind of segueing off of that story about her D&D campaign. That like I originally started making music because like I was at like this crazy crossroad in my life where I was getting into like a lot of legal trouble by intoxicated driving, and just like also just like getting into trouble with like different things legally as far as like substances and shit like that. And the whole reason and kind of backbone to why I started making music, and like you said, hobbies are the thing that will get us out of these dark times, is that like I was like hitting basically bottom in when I was 29 in 2017, when my father was passing away from cancer, and I had just gotten a DUI, and I was just like, man, I gotta really like I gotta change something in my life, and to kind of counteract all the bad things that were happening to me at that time, I just decided to kind of dive into the music thing, because I know it was something I always kind of had an affliction for, but I never really took it too seriously. So then like I kind of just took the jump and like bought my first MPC. I bought it with a credit card, paid it off over 6 months, and then like kind of just like put all my energy into doing the music thing. And like like from where I was then almost 8 years ago to where I am now, like I'm like basically a completely different person. And it's through the power of like wanting to change the ways of my life, and through the power of music and connecting with like all these dope people like you, like Sam, all these people I would have never met otherwise. So like if anybody's struggling with like substance abuse issues or anything like that, like there's always another outlet, and you just got to make the choice to like want to do something different with your life, and really put the effort and time into doing it, and like things will get better if you want them to. Man, I just wanted to get that out, use this opportunity.
I want to piggyback off of what Closed Loop just said here. I was in a dark place too, and looking for an outlet, and seeing how much the scene has done for me, to like all the friends that I've made and memories. I got into developing ISR as a production company to throw underground events, and I met so many amazing people like Closed Loop. A friend of mine met him at an open deck, and that's kind of where it started, whereas like I met him and I went on this journey and I became who I was through cleaning up my life and leaving drugs behind and like stopping drinking. So I've had that same kind of transformative experience where I chose a different path and you can too. Music and the artistry of this journey is a great really great healing for folks, I think. If it's not one thing, it's another, whether it's music or becoming a live painter or a performance artist of some kind, like a flow artist. There is an avenue for you out there to express yourself. You don't have to feel like inebriation to enjoy being in this type of vibe. So that's important.
Damn, I feel like a lot of us needed to hear that one. I'm proud of both of you. You guys came a long fucking way, so pat yourselves on the back. We seeing it.
Yeah.
We seeing the progress, and I can't wait for what's next.
Same.
Thank you.
What's is there any new drops coming? What do you want to let the people know before we make this outro?
So we got our, first of all, we do have merch. Like, if people want to help support via, buying, like, representing our brand, you could basically just hit either of us up on the DM, or you can go to like our bio on Instagram or Facebook page, and click the Linktree link on there, and there's options to buy the merch on there. And then, but the best way that you could absolutely support us is just by like streaming the music, reposting and sharing when we have new drops. They do a thing called Bandcamp Friday on bandcamp.com, which somebody buys the music on Bandcamp on the first Friday of every month. They give 100% of the proceeds. They don't take a percentage off, which is like a really good,
Bandcamp.
Yeah, a really good way to help support. And then at that point you get to keep the music, on a WAV file, and you can play it out. But just by like streaming our stuff and like reposting is like super helpful. We just had a drop on Saturday, which is a collaboration with Samantha and our good friend Willis, who is a bass music producer out of Rhode Island. They just had a drop. It's escaping my name. The name is escaping me right now. But if you just go to our SoundCloud or Spotify, it'll be our most recent drop on there. And then we also have lined up. We have Me and Serotonin for Strangers EP is dropping. We released a single for it like about a month ago, maybe a little less than that. And we're releasing the rest of the EP over the course of the next couple months. We also have Mr. Anderson. Yeah, man, definitely. We're stoked about that. We also have Mr. Anderson, which he's a producer out of New Jersey, I believe. New York or New Jersey, that area. He's going to be dropping, I believe, another album with us, which he released one at the end of last year. And then what else do we have? Well, we have Mango, who I mentioned earlier. He's going to be releasing some more music with us. So, like, yeah, we've got stuff planned, but who is it?
I got one. So every year, ISR Collective gets together and we do a compilation album where each year is a different theme. That one is scheduled to drop on June 23rd of this year. We pushed back the date because we had quite a busy year last year and a lot of stuff happened. But this year's theme, if you have any people that want to submit, it's the Will of Fire.
Ooh.
Whatever that means to you. It's kind of like Naruto, ninja, like what makes you tick, kind of higher energy theme this year. So if anybody wants to get down,
I think I'm gonna have to send some. Fuck.
Yeah.
Any genre is welcome.
Any genre.
Yeah, we love that.
Even country.
We use.
If it's got enough flavor, dude, we'll run it. If it's got enough twang in it, we'll fucking play.
Oh God.
Oh hell yeah! I know I've talked with you a few times about bluegrass and folk, and like we bonded over Grateful Dead talk at the literal Woodstock grounds. That was crazy.
Yeah.
People don't know this about me, but I am a super Deadhead. I get that from my mom. We shared that love of that music when I was growing up, and I still have all the tapes in the somewhere of the stuff that I listened to in the car with her.
You got Knickerbocker tapes?
I got tapes.
The Knickerbocker Arena was the one, I think, in New York that got torn down. It was like one of the biggest, like, it was like one of the best sets, I think. And like their whole fucking, I forgot what year it was. I'll have to get that and I'll flash it on the screen. But oh my God, that's wicked. The tapes are everything. If you've got taper homies,
Yeah,
hug them.
I have a live recording tape of the Grateful Dead performing Eyes of the World, and that's one of their like rare ones that they played out, and that's my favorite tape of all time.
That we got that compilation album, and then also just like our schedule needs to be filled up as far as releases. So like if you or any of your homies or homies of your homies are looking for like a label to like, you know, release music through, and a label that's actually gonna help promote it before it's released, after it's released, gonna make promo content for it, like send them our way. Our link tree on our bio, like I mentioned earlier, has a submission link on there. We're definitely looking for like, we're looking to broaden our network this year. That's like one of our main goals. So like, yeah, we definitely want to work with some new artists as well as all the cool artists that we've already worked with. But yeah, we want to send those submissions in.
The other important thing I want to add to artists that are possibly thinking about working with us is that we do our best to treat you really fair, treat you like family, give you proper promotion, and we also do something a lot of other labels don't do, which is we allow you as the artist to retain the majority share rights to and royalties to your music at the 70% level.
That's fucking huge, to be honest. That's not being done, y'all. You heard it here first. Go send your music to them. What are you waiting for?
That's right.
We care about you. We care about your music. We care about your art.
That's so rare these days, and I feel like that's why I needed to like get a little bit more insight into y'all, because there's like so many questions and there's like not enough answers. But I feel like now I have a little bit more to sit on and be like, yo, these guys are the cool shit, and they back it up. Y'all back y'all's talk.
Cool, man. We appreciate that, dude.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sporadic with my behavior, and I hope this was a fun-ass fucking interview, because it's not normal at all, but that's what we are. LFTRSV is all about picking the weird, extraneous, like, unique talent that nobody's looking at. And that's what you're looking at right now. Suspension and Closed Loop. Thank you guys so fucking much for this.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
It's been really fun. It's good to talk with you, man, and definitely we'll have you on Sam's podcast. We'll figure it out afterwards and get you on the schedule there.
Hell yeah.
I'll email you the questions so you can get familiar with it.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. And perhaps you might hear a MF Oblivion drop through Interstellar soon. Who knows?
Hell yeah.
That's right. Be expecting it, folks.
Expect it. All right.
You heard it straight out of your dragon's mouth.
Was that a D&D joke? All right. Peace out, guys, and we love you.
Yeah.
All right. Love you, brother. Peace out.